It's coming down after all these years, you guys. It's coming down after all these years, you guys. 100-year-old pine tree. Whoa, you see that? Before I'm talking about limbs. Give me your phone. Give me your phone. No, my. Okay. Okay. You also, the news story is, you hear what my mom just said is that this tree was planted in 1964 by her mother. Now they moved built in 1958. By her mother. Now they moved built in 1958. I'm pretty sure another relative will have a different story. But either way, in the holistic books, you can look it up. And there's so many things you can do with pine, but unfortunately, we don't want to fall in on the storage house right there, and we don't want to We don't want to fall in on the storage house right there, and we don't want to fall on down with every storm. And where the storage house is, and where that black gazebo is, a pear tree used to be there. Other side, there was a garden. And in the back of the storage house was a grapevine. She just got rid of the grapevine about 3 years ago because of the snakes. And in the back of the storage house was a grapevine. She just got rid of the grapevine about 3 years ago because of the snakes. There's an apple tree back there, and now there's nothing. And with the things that's happening now, you're going to wish you had all of those. And with the things that's happening now, you're going to wish you had all of those kind of food.
How you doing this morning?
Fine, and you?
One tree done growed up and then or they'll split off and branches, big branches this big going.
And the person who does, he takes all the rakes all of the pine and stuff up against the tree.
Oh yeah, it makes it even.
Yeah, worse.
Yeah.
Stuff up against the tree.
Oh yeah, it makes it even.
Yeah, worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once that's the way they're going up. Wow. Even more devastating. And once that's the way they're going up. Wow. Even more devastating. And once that's the way they're going up. Wow. Even more devastating. So that must be the one that had no food. That's free advertising. You don't do that for no profit.
Yeah.
That's free advertising. You don't do that for no profit.
Yeah. He was on the side right, so when it fall over, it won't. He was on the side right, so when it fall over, it won't hit that, and it won't hit the building. You can leave right there for the. You can leave right there for the. You can leave right there for the moment.
He did last year.
He did.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's about the girl on the well, I'm sorry. She didn't want to buy no shoes. I know. That's how they look. Listen to them. Well, I'm sorry. She didn't want to buy no shoes. I know. That's how they look. Listen to them. Yeah. He gonna look. He gonna be like, blood like a thing. Last year, I mean in 2023, with those coming down right there, I think I got you on video. I think I got you on video. So he's the one I was talking to.
And they was in big trees.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
You need to put the one with those big Mexican hats and put.
and they was in big trees.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
You need to put the one with those big Mexican hats and put. You need to put the one.
when it touch, it don't bother me.
All the way up to the tree
I mean,
at the top.
unless I scratch myself and it touch, it don't bother me. But if I got a cut like everybody else, it touched it, got it.
Well, me and Andrew just look. Yeah, just talking about it. For all these years, look, another sinkhole. Another what? Sinkhole. all of these years. So bittersweet, so bittersweet. After all of these years. Like I said, my mom and my aunts and uncles grew up in this house in North Carolina. She said this tree was planted here in 1964 by her mom. All I've ever known was that tree in the backyard with the cherry trees, the apple trees, the pear trees, and the garden with the beans in it and the collards. And it's just, now it's nothing. And it's so sad. And you can do a lot with pine from this kind of pine. We don't want this tree falling on my mother's house. And within the last 2 years, it's been a tornado here, right in this city, in this community. And if that tree fell on top of this house, it's a wrap. So my mom wanted it down. She cut the two down in the front that my grandmother planted in 1960, in 2023, by the same company. And you all, it's sad, especially looking at the tree being cut up like this. But it's better than damaging your house. And the and the two poles there came from my day. I think in the 80s he had bought a carport and they put those poles down, and now it's holes there in the ground because it was cement in the bottom. No one could get those up for my mom, but he just put them up. And so my mother's back there. She's so sad. I mean, so happy. I'm sad. She's so happy that it's finally up now. And look at all that straw. When people were doing the yard, they would rake all the straw up against the tree. To me, that's crazy. And if you see him, not my bag. And he said it looked a mess. He even said something on the live, you can go back and watch it, about the straw being pushed up against the tree. And I guess people do that so they don't have to really do the work of putting it in bags or raking it out to the street. But yeah. So what my mother's gonna put there in there, I don't know. The tree is older than me. I wish I had some Sabi lights around here, or somebody can take this pine from this tree and use it, but and make some medicine, some pine tea. Now where our little black snake's gonna go? I took some trash out one day by the trash can right there, and a snake crawled right over my sneaker. A black snake, and went in the storage house. And that's the reason why we had this grapevine cut down. The grapevine was older than me, but the snakes were getting too bad. I wouldn't be surprised if one came crawling out from all of that stuff right there. One came crawling out from all of that stuff right there. It's for me, and yeah, I have the falling of the pine tree that was planted way before I was born. Way before I was born. My mother's jumping for joy, and I have tears in my eyes. But again, I'm the same person who cried when somebody cut down a little tree in the front yard. Because that tree was always in pictures when we would come to North Carolina to visit. That tree was always in pictures behind me. And if you look at some kind of reunions and things we had in this house, you would see people back there. If you watch old videos on my YouTube, Wonder, W-O-N-D-E-R, Wana, W-A-N-A, you would see people dancing by the tree. So, I'm bitten. And he's blocking now, so I'm gonna go ahead. Oh, somebody sent me a heart. Thank you so much. Whoever tapped the screen, thank you so much. I'm new at this, and to see a heart, I'm so glad and thankful and grateful. Thank you so much. And whoever tapped, tell me much. And whoever tapped, tell me who you are so I can come to your live and tap sometime. Because I'm about to end this so I can go eat me my veggie bacon. It's probably Miss B Glam Decor because she's the only one up here. Thank you so much. Let me screenshot. How do I screenshot? I don't even know. Okay, so thank you all. Thank you so much. And I'm leaving now. of these years. So bittersweet, so bittersweet. After all of these years. Like I said, my mom and my aunts and uncles grew up in this house in North Carolina. She said this tree was planted here in 1964 by her mom. All I've ever known was that tree.